All right, looks like we are live. Assalamu alaikum, Sardor. Today we are joined by Sardor Umrdinov for our next stage of interview at Uzbek diaspora, who's a serial entrepreneur based in Los Angeles and originally from Fargona. And Sardor, thank you for accepting this offer and welcome to our interview series.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting.
Yeah, it's our honor to have you here. And let's get started with, for those who might not know you, why don't you give us a brief introduction about what you do and, about yourself.
Yeah, I'm originally from Uzbekistan. I came to US in 2003 as a F1 student and decided to stay. And in Uzbekistan, I'm originally from Fergana. And in Tashkent, I went to University of World Economy and Diplomacy on international economy and relationship degree.
Cool. So you're currently based in Los Angeles, right? Is that how long you've been living here in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I originally arrived to Los Angeles 2003, like almost 17, 18 years, and I still live here.
Cool. So since when you said? How many? 2003. So that's almost 20 years now.
It's almost 20 years.
Yeah, is there why do you like Los Angeles so much? I lived there for 6 months. Honestly, I moved out.
No, I think Los Angeles, and somehow it reminds you in the weather-wise, the best climate part of Uzbekistan, just summer and spring and autumn, without winter. And I guess then you get used to it.
Cool. So you arrived in 2003. What was your, arrival status? Like, were you coming as a student or as a tourist? Like, if you don't mind asking about that part.
Yeah, I came as a F1 student just to learn English. I was trying to save, like, my goal at that moment was $50,000. I was trying to make 50,000 and go back to Uzbekistan and buy the car, buy the apartment, and have a marriage party and open up a business. That was the goal. When I got out of the airport and the whole plans changed, I can do so much here because population is huge and GDP of US and GDP of California, just GDP of California itself is like, I believe, on the 6 or 7 now. From all the GDPs of the country.
Wow, crazy.
And I think it's a land of opportunities. That's if you want to do business, I think it's one of the best places.
So being a natural entrepreneur, that's what most enticed you. Like you saw opportunities for business, and that's what made you want to stay instead of just like aiming for that $50,000 and going back to Uzbekistan.
Yeah. In the beginning, like it was different, of course. When I got to airport, nobody met me in the airport. Like the guy who had to meet me probably had his own things also. Then I sit in the airport. I was calling Uzbekistan, trying to get somebody, and where I should go. And I spent the whole day in the airport the day I arrived because I didn't know where to go. And then the person who sent me to America, to US for the study, she gave me a phone number of a restaurant, Tractor. It says like, there is a guy working over there, call Tractor and ask Bahram, and he will help you out. And I called there and I asked, can I talk to Bahram? And I talked to him in Uzbek. And he was pleased because it was not many Uzbeks living in LA at that time. It was like probably us like 10, 20 Uzbeks. And he says, you know what, just come over here to the restaurant, we will figure it out. And Bahram, if you're watching, I really appreciate it. We're still friends with him.
Wow.
Yeah, and he met me in the restaurant in the parking lot. And actually, he put me in place. Like I started living with other Uzbeks at that time.
Wow. So sharing an apartment with roommates. How many people were there living with you?
It was a 1-bedroom, and we used to live 5 people, I guess.
Wow. So
our living room had a lot of beds, mattresses. 4 or 5 guys are students. Some guys are working in different places, and it was a place.
Wow. Yeah. Typical immigrant experience, huh?
Yeah,
Probably reminds you of that the photo that you have on your background with those guys
yeah,
sitting.
yeah, yeah. It always kind of pushes you to do more. That's the immigrant story. Yes, it always inspired me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you lived there and with those Uzbek guys, and you were studying at the same time, right? And did you start working right away, or were you more
No,
focused on your
no,
school?
actually, at first I didn't start working. Like I had $800. I spent a few of them for the whatever the food and rent. Then I had few more $100s, and I spent it in the club. Actually, I spent all my. I was actually dead zero. Then actually I started thinking like, hold on, what should I do? Should I call back to Uzbekistan, ask for more money or not? So I didn't. Uh, and then actually I started looking for a job. It's good that I had a 1 month's rent already paid up front, and I had a food to live. I went to school, and actually at that time there was a strike on the metro bus station, so all the buses and metro stopped working, and we had to walk in LA. It was
Oh,
really an interesting experience, and I actually would walk from West Hollywood to all the way to Koreatown. It's probably like 20 minutes walk, and I would actually grab other people, like, can I talk to you? Like, I'm trying to practice my English. Can I walk with you so actually I can talk
like
to you?
strangers?
Yeah, just strangers. I would just come to strangers and I would try to learn English.
Wow, crazy. So your English was like not yet at that level when you came. You didn't know much English.
Yeah, I really, yeah, I was good on grammar and writing and reading, but I was not really good on speaking. Yeah. So I had to
Gotcha.
practice.
And so you were doing was that master's degree, like because you already graduated from?
No, it was just ESL classes, like English,
Oh, got it.
just
Got it.
for keeping the status. It was like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. We
Then,
can relate.
then I started working. My first job was actually washing dishes in one of the kind of a food fish store, fish restaurant. Uh, and I was hired for the training from some old Armenian dude. And he told me like, okay, I can hire you only as a trainer. Okay, what does that mean? It's like, I'm not going to pay you, but you have to just come and if you pass the training, and I would pay you. Okay, like I was kind of new. I didn't know what is that, all that. And I would come after school every day before going home, and I would wash dishes. And the guy didn't pay me a dime, and I would come next day. It's like, when the training is gonna end. So he's like, no, you have to do it again. You have to do more. So I would come every day, wash dishes, and the guy didn't pay me a weekend too. And then the ladies in the kitchen, the other Armenian ladies in the kitchen, they kind of got used to me, and they started liking me. And says, look, Sardor, you have to leave because this guy is not going to pay you.
Oh, wow.
And they started giving me bread because they already knew my situation, that I don't have I have to pay rent. I'm going to school. I have nothing and nowhere else to work. And the guy would never actually pay me. It was just training for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I came up to the guy. He's like, when are you going to start paying me and how much you're going to pay? The guy would keep giving me the excuses as to we're going to have to see more how you are doing. And the training is still over.
Wow. So he just basically was taking advantage of you and you figured it out.
It was a normal situation at that time because it was not many Uzbeks and not many Russian-speaking people. Was also like you didn't know anybody and you just go and walk door to door and look for jobs. And it was my first job actually.
Yeah, yeah. And it's difficult to find cash jobs too.
Actually, I really appreciate that experience because I know how it feels from that side, and that's why I never do the same thing to my workers, like because you don't know what situation they're living at, and to taking advantage of your workers or your partner doesn't make sense.
Totally, totally. Yeah. So you're trying to be generous to them, of course. So before we dive deeper into your experience in the United States, let's talk about what kind of background you come from. Because I've gone through this similar experience as well, working for cash, being a student. And, it was difficult for me because, I never done this kind of jobs back in Uzbekistan. So first experience doing that, and there's nothing wrong with this kind of jobs. It's work is work. But was it your first experience doing this kind of jobs? What was your experience in Uzbekistan? What kind of family you come from?
No, in Uzbekistan, actually, I was actually from wealth enough family. In Baghdad, probably we were living good, because of my dad. In Fergana, in Tashkent, I never worked. I never had to work in Uzbekistan. Only work I had to do is like for the discipline purposes. My dad, in the summertime, he would put us like he would do a construction, and his friend was a general contractor, and he would make me and my brother to work for him for free. And when I asked my dad why, like we should get paid for it, because he's charging me, like why you don't? No, 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 no. You have to work. You have to help out. And I would work with my brother over there, and that's how we spent summer. And another one is actually he would purposely buy a cow and the sheep, and he would make us to grow it. Like so, before you go to school, you have to feed them, you have to give them grass and water and everything. And after you come from school, you have to clean up for them, just for the discipline purposes. Just like, but actually, one day I came up to my dad. He's like, "Dad, look, I calculated all the food we are giving to the cow, and it's actually costing us more than we're gonna sell it. Like, it doesn't make sense. He's just like a slapper says, go and work. It's not for the money."
Not economically viable, yeah.
Actually, I think that experience actually helps you to build grit and kind of helps you to grow. Do not give up kind of a mentality. So that's why I never quit. I'm always driven to the forward.
Totally, yeah, I can totally relate to that. My father actually did the same thing as well, and I appreciate that because at the time, as a kid, you might be angry, but then you understand that discipline is what gets you there through your business. Yeah. Amazing. So it was so basically it was first your experience working for money because of necessity in the United States, right?
Yeah.
And it must have felt like humbling, very humbling, right? Being in that shoes. And gotcha. So how did you get involved with what you do right now then? What was your next step? Like you were doing, working at a restaurant. What was your second job? Did you get into a technician job or?
No, the second job, that's my first paying job was assembling furniture in a furniture store. Basically, then I found another restaurant in Fairfax. By actually walking door by door, actually giving out resumes. Actually, if I knew what I know now, probably I would put that resume differently.
You would where?
I would write the resume differently.
Oh yeah. You were being honest in the resume.
Yeah, I was too honest, I think. And when I walked into the store and I was talking to that lady, she would say like, "Okay, how long you can stay? How long I'm gonna be able to use you?" Like she was actually saying in Russian, like, "Как долго я могу тобой пользоваться?" When you're planning to go back to Uzbekistan, she was like $3 cash to assembling furniture, and the work will only start on the time you arrive to the customer house when you start assembling. The driving time, your other time doesn't get paid yet.
Wow.
But it was a first paid job, and I really appreciate what she did. And
it was covering the bills, right? Yeah. Got you.
Then I started working in the restaurant. From restaurant, I moved to electrician job, another electrician. So then the construction painting. I did the moving jobs at the same time. Then I found this laundry repair job. My boss was sponsoring on green card.
Oh, so through a job you got basically your status.
Right.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so do you think, is that a coincidence that you got involved with this type of job? Because that kind of relates to your current career, right? With in a way. And is that because you were interested in that, or do you think it's a pure luck or like coincidence?
No, I think it was just coincidence. I was just doing any jobs because while I didn't have the status, I had to just do whatever I can. And I was always handy, and I think mathematical and physical degree from school, it helped a lot because I love physics, and I was really good in physics. And just doing the mechanical and electronic work, I enjoyed doing it, and it was really easy for me, and it was a well-paying job at that time. So that's how I started doing it from one to another, and actually I saw an opportunity.
Got it. Cool. So, and then from that, is that what inspired you to get into this type of business, to home services? And
Yeah,
what was that?
first it was a B2B. It was basically fixing laundry machines and coin laundry premises, hotel, hospitals, and everything. Then basically we already had like 6 company in LA, but market was too small and I saw too much politics. Then I started moving to the consumer market. That's how I actually started. I was already good in marketing, and I started the marketing in the consumer side, and I saw it's much easier to do advertising and actually get those jobs on the consumer market than the business market. And then I figured out later on, when I started looking at the data, that consumer market was much bigger. It was $5 billion market versus commercial laundry repair business was 200 million. So it was too small. That's why it was much bigger. And then later on, I understand. So if you're going to be starting a business, and the same thing as we talked about before, it's a GDPs, you want to do your business in the right market, and it should be right size.
Got it. So you did some analytical work there to figure out which market was bigger. Cool. So was it difficult? How did you start out the business? Like, tell us about the whole process. Like, you were working as a technician yourself, and one day you come up with like, hey, I gotta go into marketing and selling this and doing a brand, right? How did it go start?
No, actually, no. So it was, I just print out like some business cards for like, I don't remember how much, $50 or something. And I actually would go door to door to the coin laundromats, and I would get that sticky business card, they're like a glue, and I would put it on the lock of the coin laundromat owners. And before they opened the door and getting to that back office, they had to unwrap the sticker. And I would get a right away phone call, says, what you did to my lock? Like, you glue up my lock, like I cannot open it. At that moment, I would really apologize. It's like, I'm going to be there in 10 minutes. Like, let me clean up for you. Like, I would clean it and actually talk to them, and I get the business, because it's really hard to meet the business owner because it's unattended coin laundromat. So
Wow.
that's the techniques to meet them in person.
Wow, that's very creative. And so you would get business like that. Would they be angry at you that you just messed up?
No, I would make it up. Like, I would apologize and I would clean up, and actually they see how nice guy am I, and I'm doing beyond, and they would actually forgive and actually probably give an opportunity to the business.
Wow, amazing. So very inspiring, because like this is what I think immigrants have to do, right? Like, just go get it. Like, instead of making up excuse that, hey, I cannot meet the owner, you're actually creating that trouble in order to meet them.
Yeah.
Just to get that. Amazing. So, okay, so you then start doing the laundry job. You're getting more business, right? Do you start hiring people then, or how does the business pick up?
Yeah, I was doing this job myself on that car laundry business, laundry repair business, and I was doing the back bookkeeping of the job in the office on the weekends. We would do all the invoicing and everything during the day. During the week, we will do the service, and weekends I will do the invoicing and marketing and everything else. And then on parallel, I would do the B2C. We did start all that from my garage from Burbank. We were doing that. So on the B2C side, it was parallel business, basically. First, I hired one guy as a technician. I would just throw those jobs to him, and we would split the 50-50. But I was still doing the commercial laundry business. I would basically doing the work from like 7 a.m. I would come back home probably 11, 12 p.m., like midnight. Those are two things.
Wow. So, and at what point do you just like hands off, go out of like doing the physical job yourself and only do business? Like, how long did it take you to get there?
Yeah, and the previous business, affordable laundry, I was doing the physical work myself most of the time. On the B2C side, on the appliance repair side, I never became
completely outsourced.
Right. And the thing is, I understood on the B2B one, when you are a technician, it's really hard to unattach yourself, because all my customers were used to me, and they want me to come and personally do the business and do the repairs. I was a business myself. But on the B2C side, I never did a technical work myself. I was more of an operator. And I would actually manage the hiring, marketing, uh, more of a accounting side and operations. I never did the technician side on the consumer side.
Got you. And
It's
that's
like,
how.
I think that actually helped us to grow fast because the majority of the business owners do, whatever the majority of mistakes they do in appliance repair and most of the consumer businesses, uh, they do advertising, they start the business, but most of the good jobs, they take it to themselves. And only leftovers, they give it to their workers, to their technicians. And that's why they never grow bigger. They always take the best jobs, meat to themselves, and the bones, they give it to the other guys. But I never did that. So because I never had to eat, I never had to do the work myself. So that's why we would just distribute the jobs to everyone.
You were able to scale it, right?
Right.
Okay, got you. Cool. So that's how basically Home Alliance was born, right? And then you kept scaling and doing the brand. Was the brand born right away, or were you doing like?
No, the brand was never born. It was first we did just appliance repair, then we added air duct cleaning, dry vent cleaning, then air conditioning, plumbing, then electrician. We even tried a construction, but it didn't work out.
Okay. How did you like overcome this company? I assume there were a lot of like big guys, I would say, like in this business, and you became one of them now.
Yeah, I think I always look at the business this way. So basically, if you start the business other way around, you can always succeed. So basically, first, when you start a business, you have to pay your employees well, and then you have to treat your contractors well, technicians, you have to pay them well. Then basically, your workers going to treat your contractors, you have to be your partners, and your technicians, and the technician will treat your customers well. And the customers who actually pay you at the end, then you're going to be able to get your dividends later on. So it kind of works other way around.
I see. So you put people first. And speaking of people, are you hiring right now to your company?
Yeah, we have a lot of open positions in the office. We have basically a headquarters in LA. Most of the call center and marketing kind of works overseas. We have office in Philippines and Ukraine. In headquarters, yes, we are hiring to a lot of different positions. And we don't normally, we are hiring for specific roles, but normally if I see a good candidate, I kind of try to find out what they're best at and actually grow that skill and make it. So, and when I'm actually hiring people, I look what they want to do in 5-10 years and actually align if our goals and our goals are aligned where we're going together, then we can actually get together. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Got it. So if somebody's watching, if they're like want to become like a project manager or or maybe a technician, they can come to you and they can send their resume to you.
Yeah, if they want to get an office work or something, like if they have any recruiting HR background, or if they have a marketing background or analytical, accounting, operational, admin, any kind of a background, they can write me. Of course, probably we can put our information later on. They can write me personally, send me a resume. We will review it, of course, and most likely we're going to hire. And if they want to even learn and grow, of course, that's the best. And from other side, if they want to become just technician and make good money, become a partner, of course, let them write, please write down, send me your resume or information, and of course we're going to look at it. And if you need help with a document or something also, I've been through this and I don't want others to pass through that.
That's great. So you can even help with their status adjustment, you mean? That's great. So if anybody's here, a very skilled person, ambitious, or has some skills or wants to grow their skills with the Home Alliance and needs also status adjustment, Sardor is willing to help because as a fellow immigrant, he's gone through that and wants to be a help to other immigrants, right, from our country. Amazing. And speaking of immigrant, like what's your ratio, I guess, of people that are from our country in your company, do you have certain like percentage, or is it like mostly you hire anybody? Because I know some immigrants, they prefer more like Uzbeks. Do you have that kind of mentality, or?
No, I think it's all mixed with us, and majority of our guys are from post-Soviet Union, from all of the countries, all 15 countries. Majority, probably 70-80% Russian speaking. We have some Uzbeks, and we are more open, probably. And some, of course, a lot of them in US. We have some Americans also, but majority of technicians are also the same thing.
Cool. So people that can understand what's like the range of like income the technicians can make if they're going to work with you.
Yeah, technicians, they basically start with within 3 months you can make 5,000 a month, and if you do and learn what we say to do, like we have an academy, by the way, they can ask to join. Normally it costs like 5,000, I believe. We can give them for free if they mention Uzbek diaspora. They can go through the course. It's going to be much easier for them to get to the field. And really good, successful guys, after working with 6 months to a year, they can basically take home 10, 15, 20,000 a month.
Wow. That's very competitive with the trucking jobs that a lot of our compatriots are going for.
Some guys even make 30,000 a month.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I feel like this is a very like a lot of information about this job is not distributed properly, because like a cliche in our community is to go for a trucking job, and they think that's what pays most. And I think that's a job where you have to travel, and a lot of people have families, and they don't see their families because of the job, but they do it because of the pay, right? So I guess with your job, they can stay within their city. Is it only in Los Angeles, or they can be in any city?
No, it can be in any cities. It can be in New York, Arizona, Miami, Seattle, anywhere, Chicago, or major metropolitans. And if they're flexible to move, we can move them to the right place and where they can actually make good money. And in order to make that kind of a money, you don't have to work 8 hours a day, and you can only do 2 jobs a day and make that kind of money.
Wow, that's great.
Enjoy the rest of your time with your family, with your kids.
Yeah.
And I think the future of this industry is going to be actually growing, because you can automate everything. You can replace majority of the roles, or you can offshore, and again, you can send overseas a lot of work, even designing, bookkeeping, accounting, call center, everything is already moved out overseas. But the field technician work, you cannot automate, you cannot move it elsewhere. So it's always going to be on demand. It's going to be growing. Always somebody has to come to your house and
you cannot do that remotely, I guess, right? Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so for those who are listening, I'd like to use this opportunity to call for going for this job, because I think it's less demanding than trucking jobs, and at the same time it can pay the same or even better than a trucking job. So for those who are watching, really consider this career, or an opportunity within the office job as well, right?
Yep.
Great. So speaking of future, you just mentioned a little bit about that. What do you think? Where do you think your industry is going right now? Like briefly, what's the 10 years from now? Because like a lot of tech companies are replacing traditional companies. Do you think that's a threat to you, or in any way?
I think it's a threat to the majority of the small businesses. For us, I would look at it as an opportunity. Basically, if you are an IT tech company, actually you can become one. But what I see in 10 years, I think big 3 companies probably going to take all of the market. That's what is going to be happening. All of the home service industries, like mostly emergency service, is going to be taken over by 3 big players. But the rest, the small business, is going to go away like the taxi industry went. So it's either you have to become like IT company, and actually the rest is going to just join, and they can still do well. But for the small ones, it's not going to be staying. So that's what's going to happen.
Got it. So, and you guys are moving into tech side, right?
Yeah, we actually, yeah, we first we were on basically service company, then kind of a lead gen marketing company. Now we're actually going to the direction of the IT, and for sure we're going to be one of those three, if number one, if not number one.
Yeah, we believe you will with the grit and discipline that you have and the ambitions. Amazing. So yeah, we touched on about your career and your background. I think let's go back to the main focus of our interview series, which we focus on our life abroad as immigrants, right? And the people that we interview, we try to open them up within the side of an immigrant and how they integrated into this community and wherever they live, right? And so, Sardor, I assume you only lived in the United States as a foreign country, right? You said you've been living here for 18 years. So why did you pick the United States? Why not Europe? There's a lot of opportunities in Europe as well, or other countries in Asia.
Yeah, I think first of all, it was just coincidence in the beginning. It was just I came to learn English, then I decided to stay. But when you really look back at what I would choose again, I'm probably going to do the same thing. I would choose US and I would choose California and LA. That's what it would be. Because of the market, because we have a lot of different nations, you don't really feel you're an immigrant in LA. Majority of the people are kind of immigrants.
Gotcha. And so you're not even attracted to like moving out to other cities within the United States. Texas, for example, a lot of Californians are moving to Texas. You're not one of them?
No, I don't think, not near future. In the future, I might rethink it, but for now, no.
Gotcha. Cool. And so yeah, you mentioned a little bit about your friend Bahram, who helped you, who was your first person that you were relying on and finding a job, finding a shelter, right? Were there other, I guess, Bahrams within your journey who helped you out integrating, or was it other nationalities? What was your experience in integrating into community here in the United States and feeling belonged?
Yeah, actually, from the beginning, we had. We're in a small community. Then actually, we always get together with Uzbek community. We have our we get together and do plavs for the Navroz, or we get together for the Juma and Ramadan and other places. And in my network, I think I get together with there are other fellow Uzbeks in LA also. They're successful ones. My really close friend Suhrab, we always help each other in business. And with Babur, and we're really good friends with him. Always meet in different places. So yeah, I think it makes you stronger. We understand each other really well, and it's really good to have this kind of people around.
So most of your close friends are Uzbeks, right?
It's mixed, I think.
Russian speaking though, majority?
Majority is probably Russian speaking.
Gotcha. Is that because it's easier to relate to our own people, or like what is it that is not?
I think it's a mindset. Mindset, and it's easy to understand. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think more than 50% of my life I'm already living in US and LA, but still I think my roots are still the same.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's easier to understand each other as well.
Yeah, and actually, besides that, I have all my brothers. So my brothers are my friends.
Oh, okay. So your family is here.
I have three brothers. Yeah, we have four sons. Yeah, I was able to bring all of my family, my brothers, my dad and mom. We all live together. We help out in the business. We work together. So.
Oh, nice. So your parents are in the United States as well.
Yeah.
Great, you're lucky that your entire family is here now. How would it feel for your parents? I know it's for older people, it's harder to move on there.
It's harder. Yeah, it's hard for them. They always miss Uzbekistan. Now they're in Uzbekistan. Actually went for summer for Ramadan, and they're gonna be coming back in probably autumn. Like they normally spend over there 6 months and 6 months here. So whenever they're bored there, they're going to come back here. Whenever they bored and miss Uzbekistan, they go there. So it's kind of always traveling back and forward.
Oh, great. They're fortunate with that. And how about yourself? Do you miss Uzbekistan and go often?
I miss Uzbekistan a lot because of the work and the things. I cannot afford to leave, but of course I like to visit and spend time with them. And wish I can spend like a month or two in Uzbekistan once again.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. How does it feel when you go back? Like, do you think you've changed and it's harder to understand people there than it used to be?
No, actually, when you go back to Uzbekistan, each time you feel a little bit of a difference, like something changed. But when you get to the community in 1 week, actually, you forget that you were actually away, and you get to the society, to your friends and to relatives right away, and you like you never left. It feels like the same way.
Wow, interesting. Because yeah, for me, when I go back, every time I feel different, and it's like I'm not completely Uzbek anymore, and I'm not completely American. So I thought, maybe you have the similar thing.
No, you get the feeling for the first week. After 1 week, it disappears, and you become the like local right away.
Mm. Gotcha. Interesting. That you're lucky then, because you feel like local here in the U.S. and in Uzbekistan. So, and your family is here too. That's great. And how about your kids? Like, tell us about your family. Are you married and you have kids?
Yeah. I'm married. We have two daughters, Layla and Amira. Uh, they're 5 years and 4 years old.
Great.
Uh,
Do they go back to Uzbekistan ever, or?
I never took them to Uzbekistan. I'm planning to bring them to Uzbekistan.
Gotcha. Do you think it's important to hold on to Uzbek traditions when raising kids here in the U.S. For those who are doing that?
No, of course, yes. If to holding in traditions, that's who we are. Without your roots, there is no future. So, without your history and roots, so you always have to hold back. That's my mindset itself. I'm not sure about others. Uh, and actually, I want them to speak Uzbek. I want them to grow these traditions,
You want to keep that Uzbek identity, of course.
of course.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But of course, it's going to be a different experience for them because they were born here and raised right then for yourself. Because how old were you when you came?
I was 23.
Okay, yeah, that's when your mindset is already shaped in Uzbekistan, and
Yeah.
it's different for sure. Got it. So yeah, I mean, I think we talked about that. So how you mentioned you're helping, you're kind of giving back to our community, right? To Uzbeks. So if anybody has like they want to apply to jobs or they want to ask a mentorship, do you provide mentorship for fellow people who reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. If they're in the US and if they need any help to understand the business, what to do, of course, they can reach out.
Great. I think that covers our diaspora part. And if there is any questions from the audience, now is the time to drop it so we can bring them up to the stage. Or if anything else you want to cover on that we didn't touch on, Sardar, do you think you can go ahead and cover that right now? But yeah, I think we went over your business life, your personal life, and your experiences, in the diaspora. And I see we do have some comments here. Let's bring this one up here. So D Uz on YouTube is asking, do you plan to come back to Uzbekistan? I feel like they're asking completely.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen only probably for the retirement. Not for now. Probably after 10 years, maybe yes, but not at the moment.
Okay, but for retirement, you are planning.
It might.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. And while we were getting some more questions from different social media, you mentioned about your friends of crop, and one of your closest friends. Are they also entrepreneurs? Like people, I assume people around you are also, in the business.
Yeah. Most of my friends are entrepreneurs. They own their own businesses or more business probably. Yeah, he owns one of the largest moving companies.
Great. Yeah, we should probably talk with them as well.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So and they're also in California.
Yeah, he's in California, LA.
Cool. How's right now the diaspora compared to what it was when you moved? Is it getting bigger, or Uzbeks are also moving out to? I heard a lot of people again moving out to Texas or other states.
Yeah, I heard a lot of Uzbeks are moving out to Texas. Yeah, but it doesn't feel much. I think.
Okay.
Like in Uzbek, there is a saying: Marat bitti the tree only grows in one place, so I don't believe in moving back and forwards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but opposed to that, there's a big notion of like, not owning and renting and like sharing things right now. Like that's big among like Gen Z and Gen X, right? And you're more like,
Technology, of course, changing. Technology is changing. I admire Bobur a lot, like moving to another place, and actually on IT world, of course, we can do that. It's really easy.
I guess they're
Probably in the future, I might change my mind, but for now, I'm still the old school.
and your kids are very young too, right?
Yeah.
I guess when they grow up. Yeah, I guess they're calling this notion homeless and homeful, like people who are moving out and moving different places, different times. They don't have a permanent home, but at the same time, they have a lot of homes, right?
Yeah.
And then that's developing for sure. Okay, cool. And yeah, I think we're getting some more questions here. Okay, Otabek Naimov is asking. Let me bring this one up. Sardor, thank you for your interview. How do you access possibilities for emerging and strong, well-organized Uzbek diaspora in the US? Okay, assess possibilities of emerging and strong, well-organized Uzbek diaspora in the US. I guess they're asking like, what's the potential of Uzbek diaspora in the US and what are the opportunities within it? That's how I understand the question. So what's your take on this?
I think the possibilities, I think it's big, and I think you guys are already doing a really good job. And I think it should continue, and it has a really big potential to grow and actually help more countries. And I'm sure it can even become international.
Got it. Do you see like billionaires rising within our community in the next 10 years?
Of course. But I think it's in our Uzbek DNA to do not give up and to go forward always and do not stop and on what you achieved. And by moving out from Uzbekistan, actually accessing to a bigger market, bigger GDPs, of course, it's much possible than Uzbekistan. And Uzbekistan is a smaller GDP, smaller population. It's hard to do that, but when you actually access to the different countries, to the different GDPs, of course, you can do much easier.
Yeah, especially
Uzbek roots itself to be an entrepreneur, being a tadbirkar, I think is in our blood. We always
yeah.
If we will look back to the 1,000 years old, 1,000 years before the the Silk Road, how it passed, and we always were traders, and we always was entrepreneurs.
For sure, yeah, and yeah, it is in our blood. I agree. There's a lot of great entrepreneurs here, and which is why we're trying to bring about people like yourself to show it to the community and inspire them. Hey, here's a person who actually achieved it, from zero in this country, and you can do the same. Because a lot of people, they get discouraged because they come and they see that, hey, this is so overwhelming, a new country. What am I going to do here? I don't know the language. I don't know the people. Blah blah blah. And when I came, I remember as well. It seemed like it's so overwhelming. There's all these corporations. There's all these successful people. Am I ever going to come closer, even be able to talk to these people? And I see that it is possible from people like yourself. So it is definitely an example, and we should bring more people like yourself to give that example to others. And speaking of Uzbekistan as well, you mentioned you have offices in Ukraine and the Philippines. Why not Uzbekistan? Do you have any office there? Did you have it before?
No, actually, in Uzbekistan, we tried having a call center and office, but because of the, I think, time difference, internet, and the cultural, Uzbekistan is not that ready yet. But I think in the future is going to be the direction. And we still have a small office remotely. We are building academy there. Hilole, I'm not sure if you know, Hilole is helping out to build an academy for our students, for the technicians. And I think in the for what I see the future of Uzbekistan is, I think you guys are doing really good job. Babur is doing good job with Academy, IT Academy. I think the future of Uzbekistan, it can be one of the really developed countries if it focus on IT a lot. Since Uzbekistan is one of the two countries in the world who has a double lockdowns, like in order to get to ocean, you have to pass two more countries. And the geographically, it's not really good condition to be because it's the cheapest transportation is the sea, ocean. And when you don't have the ocean next to you, it makes it makes for the country and for the economy really hard to do the export and import. So if it was doing it well in the Silk Road time, because the ocean was not open at that time, it was before the Columb and everybody those guys opened the America and the sea trade. And at that time, before that, is the Silk Road was doing well, and that's why the import and export was good, and Uzbekistan was doing well. But without, and that's why when after the ocean opened up, it got really hard to Uzbekistan. But in the future, how I see it, if you bring technology and IT, and all our fellow Uzbeks can actually work from Uzbekistan and actually give their services to other countries, to other developed countries, and actually become really really developed economically countries like Israel or I believe,
Belarus.
yeah.
Yeah, I think Belarus has a second.
Belarus has it, yes. And I think it's up to the government to open up. And I heard that they're opening up a lot for the technology side. And I think if you do that, instead of moving out from Uzbekistan and working and doing the dirty jobs in Russia and in US like we did in the beginning, we can actually stay in Uzbekistan, develop our skill and knowledge which you can learn really easily on the internet. In the academy, what you guys doing in Babur Ali Khan's academy, I believe, and you can actually give your services to other developed countries, to other developed IT software companies, being in Uzbekistan, and you can actually make really good money.
Totally, yeah. That's one of our goals as well. Obviously, we're also trying to get people for our own company to raise, new hires. But also, there's not going to be, there's going to be. Our goal is to make enough for the whole market. So that people don't, like you said, don't have to go and do the other jobs in Russia or other countries, but actually work with their intellect. And people are capable of that in our country.
Yeah.
And it also aligns with our mission in the Uzbek diaspora as well, to give back to our country, to gather experts like yourself and give that knowledge and mentorship to our country, right? So amazing. So that I think is the potential. But what else we have to do to incentivize our generation? Because I feel like government is trying really hard. There's this program with 1 million programmers that they're trying to create. But I feel like that's not realistic, right? 1 million programmers. What else can we do, like people abroad, to incentivize that, or the government, if they're listening right now, to incentivize?
I think what we can do is this. As an immigrants, we can actually share more of a vision, what's going on outside, do more of this, what you guys are doing. So Uzbek diaspora is really great. Actually, that opens up the vision and mindset of the Uzbek people, and actually they can start thinking more globally instead of locally. You can be local, but you can always think globally and actually provide services being in Uzbekistan abroad. You don't have to move out. You don't have to come to US or go to Russia or elsewhere to actually provide those services. If you work on yourself, being in Uzbekistan and educate yourself, you can actually provide your services just being in Uzbekistan, enjoy your family, enjoy your locality, enjoy your relatives, and actually provide your services from there. But in order to do that, the government has to support in two different ways, I think. Number one is increase the speed of internet and give internet to everyone. And they should not be afraid of external politics or whatever going to influence. They can always filter it if they want. but actually giving them easy access, cheap internet to the Uzbekistan people, actually they're going to be able to grow the mindset and the knowledge and the skill of Uzbek people, which is going to allow them, instead of leaving Uzbekistan and working elsewhere physically, they can actually be in Uzbekistan and bring the capital back to Uzbekistan by actually working and paying taxes in Uzbekistan. Probably they can remove all those taxes. I'm not sure if they have taxes or not. Actually, maybe remove all taxation for the IT companies and giving them free internet, open up more internet cafes or places, and give access to all the knowledge. Maybe that is actually, I think, is going to help a lot.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I agree with all of that, and I think government is trying to do that. I think they removed a lot of the taxes and created some. I think it's called IT Park, where you get a space and do all these things. It's just that I think the basic education as well has to improve. Don't you agree? Like because a lot of the kids are not even getting, like, before they even start programming. Like the school education itself is sort of like the quality of it is low. And the kids don't even know math or like the languages, right, in the beginning. Don't you agree that has to improve as well?
Yeah, I think one of the things that what we can do, actually bring the external companies back to Uzbekistan. They can provide, actually, on those IT parks, they can provide beneficial, probably lower rents or maybe no rent fees, and provides academy or something, actually, that you can hire those students or workers when you have a remote offices that is set up. Like for our company, for other companies, actually, if you move your office from Philippines or Ukraine back to Uzbekistan, we're going to give you that benefit. And then actually those businesses, like our business or other businesses, actually they can move their support offices to Uzbekistan and actually give more business to Uzbekistan. Why we are sending all the money to Philippines or other places when actually we can send it to Uzbekistan?
For sure, yeah. Would you also go for it if there was incentives? Like,
Yeah, we would. Why not?
yeah,
It's
right.
business, right?
Yeah. And it's your Philippine.
We moved out because of we had technological problems. The internet was getting disconnected, the electricity or rent, and people mindset was not, they didn't want to work at nighttime.
I think that has changed actually. A lot of these trucking companies are hiring people to work at night. A lot of young kids are working at nighttime. And they are you getting used to that too. And I think the internet is better. So maybe a time is coming for that. And you like you said, you are planning to do that. Oh, okay. We have another comment here. Luba is asking, what are your best memories from childhood in Uzbekistan?
No, I think it's. I have a lot of memories from Uzbekistan. What is the best memory? No, I think I lived in Uzbekistan, Baghdad for almost 18 years, then a year in Fergana, and 4 years in university. Yeah, every single day of university was great. I have a lot of friends. We still on Telegram group. Oybek Askar, from my university. We had a great moments in the university days. I think they call it the golden time, right? And when you are in student.
For sure. So school time.
Yeah, school time.
You said University of Diplomacy, World Diplomacy?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I have some friends from there. Okay, we have Hassan Ramjanov is asking, thank you, Sardor, for the wonderful interview. What are some of the new industries that are expected to grow in the pandemic? What do you think of the real estate industry? Do you invest in real estate? Oh, amazing question.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan, for the question. Good question. I think what I look at the real estate is, after pandemic, the commercial real estate, as you guys already know, it's going down. It went down, and I don't think it's going to come back anytime soon. So the commercial office real space, I think it's not going to be growing. But residential real estate, I think it's going to be growing, and it's growing. I think it's because of that. All the house prices went up in US. I'm not sure overseas, but office space, I'm sure is going to go down because I don't think a lot of people are going to coming back to office anymore. And this pandemic actually, I think the world was ready to work remotely, but just subconsciously people didn't make that move. But I think the pandemic actually just triggered that event, and everybody started getting used to that because it was no other choice. And I don't think people are going to be going back to offices, and we are planning to go all remote by the end of the year, if it's possible, to most of the roles. And I think remote work gives you like a lot of possibilities, opportunities to hire the best candidates. The best people can actually join the company. So on the real estate wise, I don't have, at the moment, I'm investing everything back to the business, back to the Home Alliance. And real estate is good as a passive income, as a backup, as a second plan B, plan C. But when you believe to your plan A strongly, you don't have to do the plan B and plan C. So my all eggs in one bucket, which is Home Alliance, in one business. I don't know what else.
Wow, yeah, that was actually what I was going to ask as well. Because like when you're focused on your business, I feel like you have to keep that focus, right? You have never in your career like gone alternative routes, tried out different ventures, because like as an entrepreneur, you must have like different ideas all the time, and like everything seems exciting. How do you like resist yourself from like going out and like trying that out?
No, actually, I think we try out with Home Alliance a lot. We have a R&D group, research and development, and product group, and biz dev. We invest a lot on those blocks. We probably invest 5 to 10% of the revenue to the R&D blocks on the growing and building new products, new businesses, opening up new verticals, opening up new regions, opening up new technologies, products, apps, website, or whatever things. Like we invest a lot on the R&D because that's the only thing that can grow your company and be in front of others.
But it's still within your niche, right? Within your home.
It's within the niche.
But let's say somebody comes to you with a startup idea, right? And it's completely unrelated to your main business, but it seems like it makes total sense. They're onto something. Would you at least invest or try it out yourself as a partner, or you say no, like completely like heads down, focus on Home Alliance?
I think I can only support them. I can give them advice. I would not invest probably. It depends. If I would see there is some kind of infusion or goal together in the future, it can kind of support each other, I might. But if it's way out of the vision, probably not. I can just only help and support and mentor. But all our businesses, it's all about home services. It's big enough. And I think as an entrepreneur, one of the biggest problems you have is staying focused. So you always get disfocused on, and staying focused, I think it's one of the biggest thing. You have to always remind yourself and try to be focused. Because in 2017, I did a mistake, and I think it was one of the greatest mistake I got. I have invested in Bitcoin.
Oh.
Yeah, and I have invested in
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
A mistake though. Bitcoin now.
Yeah, at that time Bitcoin was $10,000, and I invested on when it was like 10, 11, 15,000. Then I end up selling everything like for 8,000 a coin. Like I was out. And from other side, I did a mining. I purchased a lot of video cards, and it was a lot of waste. And it was a lot of waste on money wise, and it was a lot of waste on time wise and your focus. So you get actually distracted from your existing business, and not just yourself, you actually distract your team also. So it doesn't make sense.
So it was a lesson for you to not get distracted again, right? I think it was a gold rush that everybody tried to do that at that time. Like, and everyone who had like spare time or cash tried to do that back then. So you got caught by that too.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Just Fun is asking quickly too. Again, I think we touched on that, but if you can go over quickly on your background, educational, and career a little bit as well. I think they tuned in a little bit later.
Okay, got it. Yeah. Thank you, just fine. Yeah, I actually, my educational background, I went to, as I said, I went to University of World Economy and Diplomacy. I didn't finish it. I finished 4 years. And the last year when I was about to get a diploma, I dropped out. I never finished university. So, but finishing in 4 years, I think I had enough knowledge, just basic knowledge. Then it was just international like language school, but it's not a school. But after that, I never stopped actually learning. I always work on myself. I participate in a lot of different mentorship classes, entrepreneurship classes. I take a lot of marketing classes, HR classes, like you name it, like business scaling, everything. I think I never stop learning. Always work on myself. Before going to bed, I think I read till I have my last drop of energy, and I wake up at 3, 4 o'clock at night, and some idea comes in. I actually Google it, and I learn, and I write down those ideas. Actually, always learning and always actually educating yourself.
So you value self-education more than a centralized education in college, right?
Yeah, I think number one investment you can do is your self education. The first thing you can do, and after that probably is your business or whatever you're doing, and the third is can be other secondary investments. But the number one thing I think you can do is invest in your self education.
So although you dropped out from college, sort of, you kept learning by going and like taking these seminars and self-education courses, books. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, yeah. And if you will look from the basically technical home service, we've been learning basically marketing, and I learned the marketing myself by internet, YouTube, and everything else. Not YouTube, probably internet, and going to some courses and classes. And I call myself I know a lot about marketing, advertising, and lead gen demand generation, and I learned it myself. And then other stuff also about the business. It was self learn and IT. And I don't know much about like deep IT, but overall, I was learning everything myself.
So it is possible with current technology to do that on your own without even paying a lot of money, right, for
Yeah,
centralized.
yeah. I think anybody, like, I think you have the same chances by being in LA or in US or by being in Uzbekistan or Fergana or Baghdad. You have the same chances, same access to the internet. You can learn. The same guy in Uzbekistan or in US, they have the same chances, the same access to the internet. As long as you ask the right question, you get the right answers. And it's up to you what questions you ask.
For sure, yeah. In the information age, everybody has the same access to internet. I
Yeah,
agree.
and if you follow some kind of just jokes or some stupid movies or something like that, you're gonna be getting if those funny stuff, but you're just wasting your time. If you ask and follow some successful guys or successful people or successful certain things, you're gonna be getting those answers. So it really depends on you what you follow, what you feed your brain with.
Great. And speaking of that, what are some of the specific examples of, let's talk about your favorite books that made the biggest influence on you, however many you have, and some of the courses that you took and you say, you guys should definitely invest into buying that course or going to that seminar. What are your top ones?
Yeah, I think on the courses, on the different time of my career or business, I look and read different things. I have a moment when I was reading a lot on marketing, and I would follow great marketers, and I would get them as a mentors. Jay Abraham is one of the greatest marketers, I think. I followed him, and I actually is a mentor. I went through some of the classes and got his personal mentorship also. Uh, Then when I'm kind of already know the marketing, kind of I start following other stuff. So it really depends what you follow. On the sales one, you have a Grant Cardone, Dan Locke, Dan Pena. You can learn a lot from their sales. Then from business, you have a different leadership. You have different. I think on the leadership, I love John Maxwell, 5 Steps of Leadership. I think he's a really great on the leadership. My mentor, Larry Janetsky, is also really good on leadership and business. So you have in different times, different mentors comes into your life, and they help you and support you. They help you to make those decisions. On the book wise, I think 0 to 1, Peter Thiel. It's a really great book. I use Art of War for business. I always repeat myself. What else there? Top Grading for hiring. Napoleon Hill. That one is really good.
Think Rich.
Yeah.
The classic. Yeah. That was one of my first teenager books when I was reading about business.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for those.
I think books can give you books that I think tools, like weapons, tools, or like whatever you call. And you should not read book just to read it. You should read the book whenever you have a problem. You can always go back and actually learn from the book, because I think the people put all their knowledge, all their life experience in the book. And whenever you read that person's book, you get all the life experience of that person. And if you just read for the read, you're just going to get confused. Like, nobody becomes really successful just going to college. And in college, they just put you all the knowledge, so you can always access that information later on. But if you actually combine the work or business or anything and actually learn that at that moment, you get much more from that knowledge. And if you're facing some problem, go and find a book. You're going to find those answers in that book. And for every single problem, I think there is a book. You can always go back and learn from it.
But it's what you do with that book, right? So you have to take
Yeah. In order to do something with that book, you should face the problem. You should take a responsibility. When you actually take a responsibility for something, you're going to face a problem. When you face a problem, you're going to be able to solve the problem. But if you don't take a responsibility, you're not going to be asked the question. You're not going to be actually looking for the problem. So you're not going to be able to ask the right question. You're not going to be able to learn and find the answers. So all comes to the responsibility, I think.
Gotcha. It has to be applicable to what you do. Yeah. Makes sense. All right. Thank you. Those are golden advices for books. I'm going to take notes of those as well. And we have Husan Ramjanov now, who's asking, I remember from your interview with Babrakia Akilkhanov that one of your strengths is planning and discipline and schedule your daily tasks. Do you have any weaknesses, and how do you work on them? I guess they're talking about weaknesses in building your schedule, or how did you build up that schedule, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Husan, for the good question. So on the planning, actually, if you go back to the planning, you basically build your calendar yourself, and actually then you just follow it. If you get from the Art of War, Sun Tzu, he says the great general is the one who actually plans the war ahead, and actually he always wins the war before he finishes. And the weak general is the one who actually starts the war and he looks for the solution. So the same thing with the plan. So when you actually make your plan, your calendar, you're actually planning your day or planning your week. And first on Sunday, I normally plan my week on whatever time you spend 1 hour, and you plan your week, and you see what comes, what has to remove. If there is overlapping, you remove them, and you build your plan. And before going to sleep, you prepare your next day, one day, and how that tomorrow looks like. And you imagine it that day. And you, instead of actually facing them all kind of different surprises, you can actually predict how your day is going to look like. And before you starting your day, of course, look at the calendar. Okay, you have something at 8, 8:15, whatever, like and by the 5. So you can actually just follow and be prepared. Your body, your subconscious, and everything's ready. What actions you're going to be taking tomorrow or the next week at that moment, and everything is ready. You're prepared. You know when you're going to be getting hit and what kind of hit you're going to be getting, instead of being just surprised. So I think it makes you stronger. It helps you to be really prepared for everything, and you can control. Basically, you're kind of a slave of your calendar from one point, but actually you are in full control of your calendar from other side.
I feel like you're a slave to randomness then, if you're not a slave to your calendar. Better be a slave to your calendar, right? That you created yourself. So actually it's a self-control. But do you like religiously stick to the schedule, or you break it like it's not perfect?
No, I stick to the calendar. Sometimes if I break it, I don't like it. If something surprising comes up, then I actually go back at that day or week and redo it. So sometimes I put basically all the operations thing. I put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I leave for the creativity Thursday and Fridays. And there is another way of planning it actually. Basically I plan the day. The morning I put most high value activities, and evening I put less value activities. Basically, when you have a lot of when you wake up and you have a lot of energy, you go and actually attack, or you go and you basically put up a lot of energy, you bring back the hunt. And afternoon, you spend your time to actually digest it, like all the HR people, all the problems you solve them afternoon. But in the morning, you spend all your time to get a new business, you sell, you interview new people, you hunt for new money, partnership, strategy, looking for investment, and all the high value activities you're doing in the morning. Afternoon, you leave all the problems, reduce, and everything else, like whatever things that you put afternoon.
Interesting. So you're a morning person. You start right away.
Yeah. I think, I wake up like a soldier, like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, whenever my time is. I just wake up and I get up right away. I don't like to stay in bed. I don't like.
Have you taught yourself to that, or do you think it's natural? Because some people say I'm a morning person. I'm not a morning person. Do you believe in that, or anybody can teach themselves to do that?
No, just I guess I have a calendar to follow. That's all. But creativity, I live for me. Like if the weekends, I can afford myself to stay late. I don't have to wake up in the morning. So those ones are Saturdays.
Great. Thank you for that. And I think you mentioned one of your interviews, a book about that too, right? How to prepare your schedule. Was there a book on that?
Alan, called GTD, Getting Things Done.
Getting Things Done. Yeah, that was the one. All right. Thank you. Yes. Great. Next question we have from Anton Utechin, who's saying, if you had a chance to go back to the time when you came to the US, what would you change? Great question.
When I come to US, okay, if I start over, if I come to US in 2004, probably I would get to the home service industry much faster instead of going in different industries. I would go and I would do the appliance repair probably in 2004 or 5. Right away I would go there instead of going in different industries. Because I think if you need really good money, fast money, you can make it really quick. And after that, you can decide what you want to do with your life. But probably I would do the appliance repair right away from 2004. And I would actually join the most successful company so I can learn from them. That's how I would do.
Cool. Getting into quicker.
Yeah, it was at that time. It was a few other successful companies. Probably I would join them, but now probably I would just come and join Home Allian. Not just trying to advertise it, but you can actually learn a lot, and you can actually make good money right away. And after that, you can figure out what you want to do with life.
Great. All right, thank you. Next question also from Husan Ramjanov, who's saying, is being a specialist in one field important in order to be a successful entrepreneur, or is it more about talent and aspiration that leads to successful entrepreneurship?
Being specialist in one. Is being a specialist in one field important in order to?
I guess they're asking about like skill versus talent, right? Natural talent versus skill. Which one is more?
Yeah, I think being an entrepreneur, number one thing is a grit. If you have the grit and focus, you can learn, you can get the talent and inspiration later on. So first, actually, you do one thing, you gain experience, you learn, and do not quit and just stay on whatever you're doing, and try to stay in with one industry if it's possible, because if you're switching back and forward, you always start over. And it doesn't matter what industry, look at the industry, as long as the industry is big, and look back your previous experience, what knowledge is, what experience you have, and so you can actually maximize your success in the future. If you are good on accounting, try to look for something on the accounting side. If you are good physician, look on whatever the engineering side. If your experience is medical field, try to stick to the medical, and look at your family experience, what you can do with your other family members, and probably also your network. What is your strength in the network? Who you know, who your people know, who your parents know, who your brothers know. If you maximize your resources, I think your chances of being successful increase.
Okay, so start with what's available, right?
What is available, yeah. Maximize your resources.
Great advice, thank you. Next question from Uzbekistan Wahab John, who's asking, how did you reach grant for your? I guess they're asking about the scholarship. I guess were you on a grant at the University of Diplomacy?
How did you reach?
Grant meaning like the sponsorship for your university. I guess they assume you were paid for by the government, or was it like a paid contract?
No, I'm not sure if he's talking about the University of World Economy university, or he's talking about what university.
I think they're talking about the university, because that's the only one you went to, right?
Yeah. I was not in grant, actually. I was in contract. We were paying like, I don't remember how much, like
Okay.
$4,000 a year. I was in the contract.
Okay, I think that's a wrong assumption then. That's all right. And next question. Again, this question we addressed, so I'm just going to put it on stage, but whoever asked this, just fun. You can go back and I think rewatch this so we don't have to go over this again with Sardor, because we have other questions. Sorry about that. Next one is Gap Bar Podcast is saying, hello from Fargana, Baghdad. Okay, thank you. They don't have any questions, they're just saying hi. Next one from Galina Ezhova. She's asking, knowing you graduate from University of World Economy and Diplomacy, what advice would you give for future graduates this upcoming years? What to focus on?
I would suggest try to find a mentor, somebody successful, and actually try to learn from him. Because to try to learn from small companies also, if you are still young, and learn from them, and actually maximize your knowledge and experience, so later you can utilize it.
Okay, so maximize knowledge and experience.
I think working for the right boss who actually mentors you is more important than working in one place.
So picking the mentor who already achieved success in what you do, right, and sticking to that. Yeah, that I agree totally with that. That's what I did with Robert.
I think you did the right thing. Yes.
Yeah, that was the way to get into it.
Yeah. And look, I need to just off 1 minute. My charger, my battery is
No
down.
problem. Yep. We can start, receiving more questions in the meantime. You can take your time and yeah. we'll be back with that. But in the meantime, yeah, for those who haven't got a chance to ask questions, we have 10 minutes left to wrap up. We have a few more questions that we're going to bring on stage, and then we'll be wrapping up. So for those who just tuned in, just to give a background again, Sardor Umrdinov, who is right now based in Los Angeles, is a CEO and founder of Home Allian, which is a home services company valued at $80 million. So he's been an entrepreneur for a long time, has a lot of experience, and he's made his success as an immigrant in this country. And you can ask him questions about business, about success as an immigrant and entrepreneur. So feel free to ask away, and we'll be wrapping up soon. All right, I will be reading through some questions to see what we can bring up next here. And I think that is Lom Sanakulov. We'll prepare this question in the meantime. Okay, work is back, no problem. All right, so Islam Sanakulov is asking, what are the crucial skills? I think we touched on the crucial skills for, you said grit, right? So we can bring up their next question here, which is, what are the biggest problem that you have encountered and how you tackled it? I guess we can start with that. Biggest problem in your career, I guess they're asking.
The biggest problem, I think it's this focus, and actually going back to focus.
Bitcoin. We'll call it Bitcoin. All right. Okay. The second part of the question about Uzbekistan, what do you think about the market? Yeah, plans for it. I think you touched on that as well, right? That you are planning. So, okay, I guess you can go back in the video where you touched on that. And we're going to do some, we're going to cut it into different pieces and post it later on our social media, so you guys can get those answers as well separately. And so these would be our last questions. Luba is asking what friendship means for you. Is it possible to have friends in business?
I think friendship and business is different things. In business, I think it's more about the partnership than the friendship, because on business and partnership, it's everything is most of the things are measured and is disciplined, but the friendship is different. I think it's a complete. You can be a good friends with your partner, but still you have to always, as a partner, you have to always go back and make sure you put you stop in the right times, you recalculate, you do your meetings or whatever things. So you can do the plus minuses. It's gonna stay stronger in the partnership. On friendships, you don't have to do all that. So you can forgive each other and whatever, and you keep moving. So it's two different things, I think.
Okay, but you have hired friends previously.
No, because my friends are my brothers.
Okay. I guess we'll talk about family really quickly before we wrap up.
If I was in Uzbekistan, yes, but most of my friends are in Uzbekistan, not in the US, because once I moved, I basically was almost.
But your brothers, are they your partners? You guys work together in business?
Yeah.
How does that work? Yeah. And there's no conflict of interest. How do you manage the family business?
It is. It's when it's a small business, actually, it's really good to have family members. This way, you don't have to micromanage. Everyone takes ownership and it does their thing. But later on, when it gets bigger, then you have to build a structure. You have to stop wearing different hats, and actually, everyone is responsible for their own things. At that moment, doesn't work well. So that time, it's, I think, the best if you have the family members. You let the others to take over the different roles, and you can move the family members mostly to the family office or the shares, if they have any shares or something like that, and just start something different.
Gotcha. But are you the oldest son? And because you're the CEO.
Yeah.
Okay. Would it be different if they were older than you, or you would still be a CEO, you think?
Like I think I don't know. I never imagined that.
Ageism in our culture, that's what I'm getting at,
Yeah. It's yeah.
Because I've seen like younger brothers being the CEO and the older is working under them, and that that's normal in business. So I wanted to kind of touch on that as well. Okay, and Duba's saying again, how do you remember? Do you remember your first emotions when you earned your first million?
It doesn't last long. A few seconds a day.
They're like, okay, right, let's go.
I think always whenever you achieve any success, it doesn't last long. You always you get that moment, and you actually aim to the next one. And I don't work to actually earn money or something. I'm working mostly for the business valuation, not for earning capital or something. So it's for long life of the business.
The mission is bigger than the money. Okay. Great. I think we can take this last question before we wrap up. So, what advice would you give to young, talented Uzbek people who want a scholarship, partly to study in the United States, but fund? How can they find sponsors? Okay, so I guess they're asking, if you got a scholarship, what would you do if you came to the United States? Let's talk actually about like last part, balancing your studies. So let's imagine this scenario, because you came to a language course, right? And it was different. But imagine you came to Stanford and you actually wanted to pursue your educational career. But at the same time, you ran into a very good business opportunity. Would you still stay in school if it was Stanford, like a really prestigious school, and you have like a potential career, or are you just abandon it and still go for business?
I will go to business.
You go to business?
Yeah.
That's a good
Because education diploma doesn't mean anything. And actually, I think getting too much of education, I think, is a problem for business.
idea.
Because like when you get actually, if I would finish my bachelor degree, it would actually stop me to go into home service industry. I would never do that because my diploma would actually give me too much of a proud to do dirty work. And my master degree actually would to stick me only on MBA, and I would only be on management role for somebody else. I would never start from bottom. So actually having too much of education, it will stick you to one path. You have to kind of balance it out. Because look, I never stop learning. Like I don't call myself like, because I don't have a university diploma, bachelor or master, I know less than others who have finished university. So I always educate myself. I can rebuttal anyone on any business knowledge, whoever finished university. So
Gotcha. Well, yeah, I agree. Too much education, I guess, can create proud. I actually never thought about that this way, So if you got your master's, you would probably maybe not founded this business, right? You would have been in a management position. Good manager, but not an entrepreneur.
right.
Advice. Well, I think that brings us to an end. So thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. Just want to wrap it up with introducing again. Today we had Sardor Umrdinov, who is the CEO and founder of Home Allian, the home services company valued at $80 million. And it was our honor to interview you, Sardor. Thank you so much for all the business advice, for immigrant advice, for life advice. And for those who want to find you, how can they find you? Where should they go and follow you or reach out to you?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be able to share my manual. I have a user manual for how to communicate with me.
We can post that on our in the comments below.
Yeah, you can put that on. So basically, they can find me on Instagram or Facebook, or they can write me on the Telegram message. I don't pick up the phone, so don't even try to call me. Unless it's like a weird call, I answered it. Normally, I don't answer phone calls. It has to be scheduled, or if they can put up on the calendar or something, and by describe what is that about, and just write me.
Yeah, actually, I looked at your manual. I was so amazed because it's in your on your Telegram. I think I have that link. This is like you have a whole manual on how to contact you, and this is amazing. I think it can be like a great way to learn how to contact people professionally, because I'm not at your level yet, but even I get these messages where people just tell me, "Salam, hi, how are you?" And I hate that, because that takes up so much of time, and like I have to respond to that, and then they tell me what they want. Like after 5 messages, they'd be like, "Oh, how's your life? How's this? How's that?" Just tell me what you want, right? Cut to the chase.
Yeah, just tell me what you want, or tell me how you can help me. So it has to be both ways, not just one way. So before you do your ask, tell me what you can give. So it has to be beneficial, right? So
Completely agree. It has to start.
describe what the whole thing is like, not just say hi or something like that. You have to describe.
Totally. Great
Okay.
golden advice.
Spend some time and actually describe the whole thing.
Yep. And start with what you can offer to that person. Amazing. Well, one last thing, again, to mention, if you guys are in the United States and have skills of a technician or somebody who's in marketing or leadership position, management position, you guys can reach out to Home Alliance or to Sardor directly, and they are hiring. Home Alliance is hiring, and you guys can apply, and they even help you with your documents, which is golden. You guys can, if you're in the process of obtaining a green card, they can help you with that if you're a good specialist for their company. So thank you, Sardor, for this time. We can wrap it up.
Thank you, Sardor.